Okay, that should be working now. I'm just trying to figure out how to put my headset so that I can hear music and not feel like I'm screaming. I need to change my radio station though, because I cannot listen to music with words when I'm working. I have to listen to classical. Here we go. I'm gonna turn it down a bit. Okay, that is much better. Let's change this to be a little bit closer. Okay, so I am working hard. The only issue is I can't see my chats because for some reason my OBS is messing up with Restream. So, oh, I can do it on my phone. Never mind. I just remembered because it just popped up on my phone. So let me do that. Let me bring up chat. Chat is there. Yes, okay, and it will come up on the screen over here too. Okay, sweet. So I don't need to bring it up on my computer. Even better, I just need to look down at my phone every now and again in case there is a message. So one of the things I did, oh, I am so washed out from the light, is I pulled out my research books, and so I have Save the Cat I'm referencing. I'm also referencing Newsletter Ninja, the first part. The second part, strangely enough, I don't own yet, so I'm ordering it today, and should have it within like the next week or so. And then I'm also using the Save the Cat Writes a Novel, and what I'm doing is I'm using them for just to see how they format the book, how they format the pages, if there are any little tips and tricks I want to get from these kinds of books, specifically probably the Newsletter Ninja one, because it's probably the size that I'm looking to make this that I'm working on. I'm not looking to make it like the Save the Cat Writes a Novel is like 300 pages. No way. This book, while I love it, it is much bigger, just in the dimensions of it. So there's a lot more going on. Like you can see that it's like how much bigger it is from the Ninja book. So really the Newsletter Ninja one is the one that I'm really looking at for reference as I go through. And the first thing I'm doing, I already did this isn't really called the cover page, but you could say it's the cover page. And then there's going to be a title page, and a half title page, a full title page and a half title page. So those are going to be coming in the future. But right now I just want to work on the contents, so that way I can move on from the contents and work on the you know what I just realized from this? I'm gonna make myself a lot smaller, because I don't need to be this big ominous thing. And I'm gonna turn off the Oz map, and I'm gonna make this smaller as well. For this, haha, I'm gonna have to shrink it back. Excuse me while I fiddle with Windows here. Okay. That didn't do much, but I realized I didn't need myself to be like some big thing here that people are looking at. Oh, down in the corner. Okay. Oh, now let's get back to it. So I'm gonna hopefully do a forward. I'm gonna ask a few people that I know and trust that I feel like are, would be worth having as a forward, because a forward is something that's usually written by someone else that's a expert, so to speak, in the field or industry or whatever it is that you're writing about. So I have a couple names of people that I'm going to ask if they would be willing to write a forward to what this book is about. And I've already got like a proposal type situation going of what I would say to pitch it to said person or personages. Okay, so one of the things that I'm trying to figure out is how I'm gonna block these off. I was thinking to do them in parts. There would be 8 parts, and then each part would have subsections or sections and subsections. Yeah. Also, in about the next 2 months, month to 2 months, in either March or April at some point, I'm going to have a dual camera angle, which I'm really excited about. I'm going to have a camera angle looking down at my desk, and then this camera that I'm currently using right now is going to be put in my, I have a like a tripod type situation over here, and it's going to be here looking at me from a completely different angle. So I'm kind of excited about that coming forward, having 2 cameras set up, because I think my new computer can handle it, which has not been the case in the past, but this computer is much better. So I am going to push it to the limit. Because it's a M1, so it's not an Intel processor, which I think is key with these things. So one of the things I want to do is give myself a little space. How did I do this? See, this has some notes that I put for myself, so I'm trying to remove the notes parts because I have that in my notepad or in my notes app, and I don't need that here. So I want to clean this up a bit so it looks more like what the contents page will look like, which I'm not exactly trying to mimic anybody else's, but yeah, I definitely want to use. Now, the interesting thing is, I've always imagined using a sans serif, but it looks like they actually use a serif font on everything on the interior, and use a sans serif font on the exterior. Which, I mean, to each their own, I guess. But so I will be so bold. I want them to stand out. I feel like everything is just so smushed together that I'm not liking it. So I think I'm going to indent like this so that things stand out. Five point three, 5.4. Part 6. And these headings and things definitely have to go, because I think I can write them a lot better. These kind of are just my thoughts, which are all over the place, I feel. Okay, so me just fix. I'm gonna get rid of this. I don't need that. A lot of the things in the parentheses I'm gonna just remove. This is also pointed up too much. Let's point it down a bit. Just not too much. Okay, that's better. Let's change this to import process. Bring things as they go. Search. See all importance. I think I might leave these. Okay, so far so good. There are a few things I know I need to tighten up, but guess I need to rewrite. Something like that. Okay, so this is cleaned up quite a bit. Actually, I really don't like having parentheses, so I'm gonna remove these. I just need to remember that each section goes over a different thing. Okay, not bad. And then I'll have like page numbers to the far right. Oh, you know what? Open this back because I need to do each one now. Part 2, part 3. Part 1, I've got like almost all of it done, and it's almost 8,000 words. Here is part 1. And I don't think it's even done because I have to go through it again, and I have to go through it to section it off like this. Oh, why is this here? This should not be here. It should be like that. Let me just look it over one more time. Okay, I think that's right. Okay. So I gotta go through part 1. Every day I do a bit of a to-do list for myself of like what little bit can I do, because I don't want to overwhelm myself with like too much at one time. What's it called? Manage subscription. Hey, 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 Silent Willow, what's up? How's it going? It's going good. My wife said, hey, do you want to sneak upstairs for a couple of hours? And I was like, totally. Why would I not? And I realized what I wanted to do, I could just as easily just, throw it up on stream and stream and work. So that's what I'm doing. I did this first, which um, I'm putting together. I don't know if you remember this, but like not last year, but the year before when I first started using Substack, I had hold on one second. I'm shutting off my classical music because it's interrupting my thoughts. So I had written back in like I think it might have been 2020 or something, sort of like a 101 to how to use Substack for fiction writers because, I had just discovered it. I realized what a great tool this could be for fiction writers, and I wanted a way to introduce it to fiction writers so that they could follow it step by step and start their own thing. It's strange to think that this was like hold on, let me scroll back to see when the heck I did this. So it was 2021. Which is crazy to me to think that it was that long ago. It was over a year ago. The first one I did was, hold on, scrolling back right here. August 16th, 2021. I did 101 the setup. And basically at the time, every week, I think, or every couple of days or whatever, I forget the schedule of releases. I was releasing it until it got to like the 200s, which was a little more in depth, and then the 300s and the 400s, whatever. Fast forward to now, where there's so many advancements, so many changes, so many improvements to Substack, that I wanted to do something again, but this time I don't want to release it like through my Substack itself. I want to create like a book. So something along or akin to this kind of book, where it's like this size, very small. This is the Newsletter Ninja, which a lot of people will recommend if you're looking to start a newsletter to read. It's literally like 120 pages. It's you could sit in one sitting and then have all you need to know on how to become an author mailing list expert. And so I want to make something like this, but it's going to be based on how to use Substack for fiction writers. And so I've been working on that. And so I have the tentative title is How Fiction Writers Should Use Substack. I don't know if that's what I'm going to use. That might be the subtitle, like the sub whatever, and there might actually be a much shorter, like 2-word, like Newsletter Ninja type of title for it. But in any event, I've got the table of contents, and every time I'm working within Substack and I'm doing something and I realize like, oh, this is something that I think people would like. So I want it to be evergreen, but I also want it to be something where I will update it as Substack adds new things and does new things. And I'm probably going to make this free. I don't think I'm going to charge for it, but I am going to put it in like an ebook form, so that you can easily like, download it and just go to whatever section you want and, make your Substack and make it work for you, and, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm using, my own pitfalls and everything to throw this together. So I was working on that. So I just did, basically the contents, if you will, for it, all the way, like all the parts, all the subsections, etc. And then I just started working on the March 1st newsletter, because I can't believe it's going to be March 1st in like less than 10 days. How many days are in February? So I think we have like 9 days, and then it's March 1st, which is crazy to me. So in like less than a week and a half. So that means that I have 2 different newsletters that are coming out on March 1st. I have one for my personal one, Pen to Paper Stories, where I do my first editions, which I now started making available for everyone after 2 weeks. So everyone basically got the February 1st email that I sent out, but I then made it public on February 15th. So like 4 days ago, this was public. So now everyone can see it. So instead of me keeping it behind the quote unquote like exclusivity of being a part of my email list, I'm making it so that everyone can enjoy it. But 2 weeks later, so it's still kind of exclusive to my email list, because you get it for 2 weeks first. If there's anything in there that's like a pre-order link or something like that, then you get it first, and then everyone else will get it after. And then Beyond the Wizard has an email that's coming on March 1st as well, which is the second edition of the Oz Gazette. So I've already got the banner here. This is coming March 1st. I've got most of it written. I think it's basically done. Reading. Yeah, I did this like really quickly, like in Google Docs, where I'm tabulating how many likes basically people are putting for each chapter, and I'm tracking it. So I'm gonna update this just before. So this is just what it was when I threw this together a couple days ago, but I will update what this chapter's read chart is at that time. So yeah. Oh yeah, I need to write. Okay, I can do that right now. And then there's going to be, then when we read the next chapter next week, I will then add a little blurb about what that chapter was about. I also did several updates to the newsletter and a bunch of things. Like I bought the first 3 books because you know how I am a stickler, so I actually have them here so I can so we're reading this one right now. We're gonna start reading this one in July 1st. July, August, September, we'll be reading that book. And then October, November, December, we will be reading the 3rd book in the Wizard of Oz series. Very exciting. So I have those 3 books here. These are the 2023 books that we will be reading. And I like reading this version of it because it has the actual illustrations. I don't know if you can see that. So this is a reprint of what the first edition looked like. So it's got all the illustrations by the original illustrator W.W. Denslow. I assume that's what his name is. I did a new banner, which I'm really excited about. I really love it. I got a new logo. This is a logo, and then the new banner is right here. Love both of them. I think I'm really impressed with it. So this is, for the most part, done. I do have to, before March 1st, which is crazy to me that I have to do this before March 1st. Where do I have it? It's probably here. Yeah, okay. So this is really what I need to be working on. If you can see over here. So the gray is the book that's been written. You know what? Let me zoom out because this is zoomed in too far. You can't really see it all. Okay, so the gray is all of the real book, the chapters with the description of what actually happens. The green is my retelling of it. So what I'm doing is I'm doing an outline, a simple, this is what I would consider a simple outline of the first book, but I chose to do it this way because I wanted to just see how far removed and how different it turns out from the original. So there are certain things I'm keeping, such as the fact that there is a title for each chapter. So it's not a chapter number, it's a chapter title. So each of my chapters, I'm giving it a title, I'm giving it a description. So you can see I've already done all the way down to chapter 10. I want to try and match at least the number of chapters. I don't have to, but I'm going to try to match the number of chapters. And the idea is that I will then have my outline. So this I want to have done by March 1st, because I'm going to share this with people so they can see, like, this is how the original book is and this is how my different twist goes. I'll probably change this a bit so I'm not giving my full outline to my email list, but I am going to share this on March 1st. So I have to essentially fill this part in down here that I don't have filled in, which I think, now that I think about it, I should do that now because I changed the story drastically, if I remember correctly. I didn't mean to do that. Let me find, I need to find the place where I wrote my notes. My notes. Where do I have my notes? What would it be called? Let me think. Here we go. Twist ideas. Oh, I thought I lost it for a second. So one of the things I changed is that it's actually going to be a huge war that breaks out from what happens. And so it's going to make the book a lot darker than I had originally anticipated. So one of the things I'm going to do is to the right. Because I don't want to get rid of all of this that I've already written. I wrote a lot. So what I'm going to do is take some of the stuff that I can keep and then amend some of the things that I wrote in here to be more akin to what's going on. So I'm going to let's see. The premise remains the same, which is that the house falls on Glinda the Good Witch. That does not change. To discuss something. Okay. Okay. There's the issue of the wand again. This is the issue that I came up against before. Does she take the wand or does someone else take the wand? See, because I want to kind of follow the original, but I do, but I don't. And in the original, she gets the actually not ruby, the silver slippers that the Wicked Witch is wearing, Glinda the Good Witch gives them to Dorothy, and then Dorothy decides to wear them because her own shoes that she's currently wearing wouldn't last, or aren't well made enough for the journey that she has to take on the Yellow Brick Road. So that's why she ends up putting the slippers on, is because her own shoes are just too worn, which I thought was really fascinating from the original, and then differentiating the original from the movie, and just how different they actually are to one another. But anyway, oh, the wand. That's very important. I do want it that the wand is taken. But because of the way I changed it, I could make it that no one but the person who takes over the position can actually touch the wand, or whoever touches the wand automatically becomes the next person in line to be the Good Witch. That seems a bit... And maybe she didn't realize that as when she picked it up, and it's like, OMG. I could do that. Let's do that until we come up with something better. Yeah, sort of like Excalibur's sword, which is similar to how, the slippers end up becoming this thing that gives her power, makes it so that the Wicked Witch can't harm her, and then ends up being the source that gets her home. And I'm sure in the stories, I'm wondering just how much power those slippers actually have, or did Disney, in their Disneyfication of the story, impose powers upon the shoes, because currently she hasn't, like, I don't see how the shoes are giving her any power whatsoever, the slippers that she puts on, that she takes from the Wicked Witch. However, Glinda the Good Witch does, like, kiss her on her forehead, and apparently this kiss allows her to be free from harm as she's journeying on the Yellow Brick Road, which I'm surprised that they took out of the movie. I guess they felt the slippers would be a better representation of being free from harm than a kiss would. I don't know. So we'll see. I have no idea. I never read anything beyond the first book, and I barely remember reading the first book, so I will find out, same as everybody else, when I start reading the second book. But I don't know if the shoes allow her to cross dimensions. That is a good idea. If they do, I'm gonna have to come up with something different then, because she's not taking no shoes when she leaves. She's taking the wand. So if the shoes are what do it, then I'm gonna have to change it and say that the wand allows her to travel from her world in Kansas to Oz. Even if I do that, because quite honestly, in my version, in my twist, Dorothy is not the main character. The main character is actually a Munchkin, and she just happens to be what makes the story a story and what makes what happens happen. She's the reason why a war breaks out, because of what happens when her house lands on Glinda the Good Witch. But she's not the one who's going to quote unquote save the day. That's actually going to be this Munchkin character that I'm creating, Keeler. He is going to be the one to save Oz and, you know, be the character that I follow. I'm emulating him after I believe his, and I don't want to butcher the name, but Matthias from the Redwall series, who's a little mouse. So I'm thinking of him when I'm writing Keeler, who's going to be this Munchkin, this little Munchkin who's going to do great things, you know, and that sort of thing. But actually, I'm gonna make it that she meets the Wicked Witch of the East, which would be awesome because that's a character that, again, I get to play with, since all we know of and ever even really see of the Wicked Witch of the East is when the house falls on her. So that's a character that really doesn't have much story, so I can do whatever I want, which is what I like. I like creating characters and trying not to touch what's already canon or mess with it too much. Although I am going to completely do role reversals on the Lion, the Scarecrow, and the Tin Woodman for sure. Okay. Okay, so now let's see. All right, I think this is all the changes I really need to make, and then what happens moving forward, unless a Wicked Witch shows up again. Hold on, what did I do? Oh wait, the change up is that they're not going to Emerald City, but they're actually going to the Wicked Witch of the West. So I need to look at the map again, because that does change things a little bit. Let's look at the map. Not that map. Here we go. All right, so let's look at the map. So if they're over here, where Dorothy House landed, and they're on the Yellow Brick Road, and they're headed to the Wicked Witch of the West. Her house is actually on the other side of Emerald City. So how do I get it? Let me think. See, I have them going this way. Which is why they end up at the man-eating plants. This is the actual book's map. I'm not gonna make my own map. It doesn't make any sense. I've got this whole map right here. Eureka. So I'm gonna use the actual map that's been authorized and done specifically for this, and it includes all the relevant locations and things throughout the entire canon of Oz, so it helps me out considerably. Like, I'm sure man-eating plants is probably featured in one of the 50 books that have already been written in the canon. I'm not gonna go and look to see how they were described and or utilized, but I'm gonna utilize it in the first book, just because I've got them taking a different route than the one that is taken where it says here the first Yellow Brick Road. That's why I came up with the idea of the quote-unquote second Yellow Brick Road. So I am going to make some alterations to this map, and the one main one, and probably the only one I'm going to make really, is that I'm going to put a second Yellow Brick Road. It won't be this one here that you see just above. You can't, can I show my mouse? Hold on, let me see. I think I can. Show cursor. Okay. So let's see. Okay, so if you see my cursor here, like there's the first Yellow Brick Road here. This is the one that's traditional to like the movie where they end up at the poppy field down here, and you know, all of those lovely things. They end up picking up the scarecrow here. So what I propose to do, instead of having this other Yellow Brick Road, which I'm not sure what this is about. Like each one has its own, it looks like Yellow Brick Road that goes out towards one of the different countries. I want to put a secret, somewhat hidden, somewhat unknown Yellow Brick Road that's a circle instead of a straight line. So it avoids the Emerald City, and it just goes around, and you could take this Yellow Brick Road to Gilligan Country, to Winky Country, to Qualing Country, and it basically just goes in a circle. So it's gonna be just about at the like 3/4 mark of each of the sections. So it goes all the way around, and it comes around this way, and it goes around this way, and it goes around, and the Wickeds know about this sort of road that they created, or you know, like manufactured or whatever over time, so that they could avoid having to go to the Emerald City at all and deal with the Wizard of Oz. So that's what this quote unquote second road is. So what happens is Dorothy ends up going on the second road, and this second road is going to take her in the vicinity of the man-eating plant. She's going to end up in Gilligan Country at some point, and then she's going to come back down into Winky Country where the Wicked Witch of the West, her house is. So I'm taking a completely different route. She's not going to encounter the Wizard of Oz probably at all in the first book. He will be mentioned. There will be, you know, murmurings of what the wizard is doing due to the great war that's about to take place between the Wickeds and the Goods of Oz. But there's a war happening, so he's kind of, you know, busy doing that thing. But in any event, so she's going to be going. So I have to take this map and I am going to open it up in like Photoshop and lay what caused the war, Dorothy's house landing on the Good Witch. So this is what the story is. Each country has its own Wicked Witch and Good Witch, each one. And this is how the great balance is kept in Oz, because in Gilligan Country, there's a Good Witch and there's a Wicked Witch. In Munchkin Country, there's a Good Witch and a Wicked Witch. So when the house falls on the Good Witch, the Wickeds are now technically, they outnumber the Good Witches by 1, because there's now only 3 Good Witches to 4 Wickeds. And so the Wicked Witch of the East, knowing this, decides that she's going to try and use this as a time to infiltrate and take over and turn all of Oz into Wickeds and get rid of the 3 remaining Good Witches. Because while there are an equal, there's 4 and 4, the Goods have always been slightly stronger than the Wickeds. So when they're down Glinda, who is like the most powerful of the 4 Good Witches, it tips the scales completely. And so that's what causes the war. Just because, I mean, how was Dorothy supposed to know that when her house landed in Oz that she was going to land on, Glinda killing her and then causing such upheaval? But that's what ends up happening. So I'm going to get to play around with the Wicked Witches, the north, south, east, and west of them. And I'm going to get to play around with the Good Witches who are left, which is east, west, and north. Because Glinda, I believe, is, if I look on the map, her house is here somewhere, but I believe Glinda's palace is down here. So she's the Good Witch of the south. So she's gone. And what happens, and this is the part that I'm not sure yet which way I'm gonna go, because initially I was gonna have it that she leaves behind a sort of like a will, naming a person who she would like to take her place. Typically that's not what happens. What happens is it's done sort of like the way the Catholic Church picks its pope, where all of the cardinals get together and lock themselves in like a dungeon and they commiserate amongst each other, and then by some act of God a name gets whispered in the air, and then all of a sudden everyone's whispering this person's name, and then if they all start whispering this person's name, then the white smoke goes up, and then that means they pick the next pope. But every day, if black smoke comes out the chimney, that means they haven't picked the pope yet. They haven't heard the voice of God telling them who should be the next pope. So anyway, that's sort of how they would typically pick a new Wicked or Good witch. Is this council comes together and the council will decide. So it would be unusual for a witch to have left behind a will saying, in the event of my death, I think so and so should be named the next person. And so my thought was that she picks the most unlikely of persons, which is, first it would be a munchkin, and second it would be a dude. Like the witches are, all of the Wickeds and the Good Witches are all female. They've always been female. That's how it goes. But the members of council can be male or female. And so for her to pick, her replacement to be Keeler, who would be my main character, would be odd. So I could do that, or I could do it that the fact that the Dorothy picks up and touches the wand automatically makes her the replacement witch, and therefore that would also be a problem for the council, because what they would typically do is someone from the council would go and retrieve the wand, not touching it, like putting it, like using a glove or something, and then they would take it to the Emerald City, where they would then confer with themselves, pick the next person to take over for Glinda in the Quadling Country. They would call that person to Emerald City. That person would go to Emerald City. They would then pick up the wand, and then boom, they would become the next person. Both versions I like, so I don't know which one I should go with. And maybe I should outline both versions to the group at large, and then maybe do a poll and be like, which one do you think is the better idea? That, you know, the wand decides, touching the wand, whoever touches the wand is the next person, and or that that Glinda leaves behind a will and says, I named this person, because if she does that, what I was going to have was that the council was going to come together with the wizard and say, this is ridiculous, maybe we should burn, her will, so that no one knows it exists, because there ain't no way that we're going to, appoint and follow her wishes and appoint Keeler, a man, to be the next good witch of Quadling Country. Like, that's not going to happen. And then how that, politically speaking, makes a few ripples within the infrastructure, because the council is not okay with that. Or see that, I mean, now that I'm thinking about it, I think the whole touching the wand thing is better. And the fact that Dorothy touches the wand, not realizing what that means, makes more sense. Okay, that's what I'm gonna do. I talked it out with myself, and I have decided with myself that that's what I'm gonna do. And all that set aside, I need to make sure that my chapters now have them going in the direction of the Wicked Witch of the West House, and not, because they do go to the Great Gillikin Wall, which is basically, yes, they need to enter here because they're going this way, but they need to go across here and then down to the Wicked Witch of the West is what they need to do. So the man-eating plants, the Great Gillikin. Wait, do they meet? I thought they meet the plants first and then the wall. Yeah, it's the plants first and then the wall. So why do I have it going in the other direction? Let me move this. Hold on. Let me move these things around like so. Put this back here. The plants, the wall. Get rid of this. So the Lion, the Scarecrow, where do we meet up with the Tin Man? I don't think we encountered the Tin Man yet. Because I can technically put the Tin Man wherever the heck I want. I don't have to put him here. Let's see, they get through the wall. And wait, didn't I? Hold on, I need to read what I wrote. Until now, they encounter quite a scene between the man-eating plants, a man made of tin. Okay, here's where they do. He's actually battling the man-eating plants, and that's how. Okay, okay. Um. Oh, okay. That's why I had it in that order. See, this is why I needed to read this. Then I would know what's what and who's who. So it should be in the other order. So let's put this over here, and let's put this back over here and delete it from here. So basically, they hit the wall. There's like a soldier or whatever who the good witch sent out a woodman to retrieve some wood for her weeks ago, and he has not returned. So find him, and then they'll give them entry into the great into Gillikin country. So they go, they find him, boom. Okay, so now the Tin Woodman is going to tell them his sad story. Wait. Hold on. I've got it backwards. This should be of the north. Because looking at the map, Gillikin country is in the north. Why did I put south? Okay, so here in chapter 10, chapter 10? No, chapter 9, we meet the Good Witch of the North. Oh. Okay. Why is Gillikin misspelled? You're killing me here. It's K-I-N. Here we go. Wait, where are we headed? Oh my god, I'm terrible at this. Winky country, okay. once they have made it maybe a plume of blue smoke. Okay. Now is where things start going really differently than I had planned. We've got Tidy Town. There's a bee wilderness. Who or what is Twigs? Okay, let's narrow this down. Let's work backwards from the Wicked Witch of the West. Perhaps City and the Maybe Mountains and the Wishway. That's Play City, Monday Mountain. That's crazy. I can't wait to read more to find out what all these things are about. In the meantime, Bookville. Okay, the Serpent Tree. Ice Town and Bookville. That's where we got a line here. glasses are so dirty. How long have I been streaming? I think I'm going to end my stream here to give me time to do a few other things before I have to go downstairs for dinner. An hour and a half. Yeah, I think I'm going to end it here. Think more on where I'm going with this story and do a few other things. But thank you, Silent Willow, for stopping by. I appreciate it. I will be back on Wednesday. Actually, no, I don't think I'll be here Wednesday because we have a doctor's appointment on Wednesday. So I might actually miss this week's Wednesday stream. We'll see. Otherwise, I will be back next Wednesday, which will be like March, I think. By the time I'm back, will it be March already? Yeah, March 1st. So will probably be when I will be back next. Till then, have a lovely next couple of weeks.